snowed around here today. That was a nice surprise to wake up to. I didn't snow very much, maybe like at most like an inch. Was not a lot of snow, and it was very wet snow, so it only stuck to like the grass and trees and stuff. It didn't stick to the street or pavement at all. But yeah. Hi, wow, hi, sweetheart. Hey, wow, congrats on getting first, sweetheart. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Wow. So, I talked about it a bit yesterday, our last stream. You're good. That's good to hear. Wow, that's good to hear. But my grandpa on my mom's side passed away a couple years ago. In like 2023. Maybe it was 2024. Is that? I don't know. But my grandpa really liked to read. And my aunt and uncle were cleaning out like the storage room in the house. And they found all my grandpa's books. And I guess there's like this app where you can like scan books barcode, like those apps that scan trading cards. Be like, oh, here's how much this is on the market or whatever, right? Problem is, the problem is that a lot of these books that my grandpa had were like pre 60s. Like some of them are maybe from 50s and 60s. Like I think the oldest ones are probably from the 60s. Like they're old enough that they don't have barcodes. You just took it up to the register, I guess, and it had 75 cents on the cover of the book. And they're like relatively thin little sci-fi novels and stuff like that. Like one I remember seeing the cover of a ton, or just a memory of when I was little, when we lived with my grandparents, was I believe it's called The Star Beast. I want to say it's The Star Beast. The title of the book is The Star Beast. And the cover has this guy in this like green and orange spacesuit, and behind him is this big purple creature that it's like a horse with arms, like a centaur, but it has the head of like a horse with like really big nostrils. Has no fur. It's like a kind of like a velvety purple color. It has arms on its like torso, and then its body is like an insect where it's like really long, and it's got like 8 pairs of legs. And I found that one in the books. I looked through them yesterday, I think. And I grabbed like 5 books. There were too many books. But my grandpa really liked Man Spekith, or the Dragon Riders of Pern series, which I had never really heard of at all. My dad likes it, so maybe I'll try reading some of those. I don't know. Yeah, if you know what if anyone listening to this knows about the Dragon Riders of Pern books, if they're good, let me know, because if they are, I need to grab them before we like donate them to the thrift store or give them to the library or something. But yeah, so I spent like an hour looking through like 4 boxes of books. I found a couple. I found a Dinotopia novel, Dinotopia Lost, which was not written by the guy that wrote the first Dinotopia books. It was written by a guy that did Star Wars novelizations and like the novels based on the Alien movies, I guess. The synopsis is that because Dinotopia is like this island, and the only reason I know about Dinotopia is that there was a cartoon movie there's a movie uh, where like an orphan boy runs away from the orphanage and then hitches a ride on an airplane in like the landing gear, and then uh, I think something like that, and then he gets somehow gets stranded on Dinotopia, and it's him like I don't remember if it's like a coming of age thing or if it's just him. I don't know. I don't know. I don't remember if the movie's good. I watched it a lot when I was little. But the synopsis of Dinotopia Lost is pirates. A pirate ship gets like this powerful storm, tsunami or storm or whatever, washes this pirate ship on the shores of Dinotopia through like the because Dinotopia is like largely inaccessible to ships, right? Because like it's surrounded by like rocks and coral reefs. Like it's just hard to approach by boat. So most of the people end up there are marooned there. So this pirate crew ends up there, and I guess they kidnap a family of dinosaurs, and then um, the protagonists of the story uh, track down the pirates and try to save the family of dinosaurs or something. Anyway, I grabbed that because I recognized Dinotopia, and then there's another one called Dino Summer, something like that. It's like a sequel or takes place in the same setting as The Lost World, not the Jurassic Park novel or whatever it's called, where they find this isolated pocket of dinosaurs on this plateau in South America, and I guess in the same setting, but in like 50 years after that story, where they discover the Lost World. Dinosaurs are no longer exciting to people, so the circus that had dinosaurs in their circus went bankrupt, and this group of people decided that they're gonna take the animals and try and trek them back to the plateau and release them back into the wild, I guess. That's the synopsis. I haven't read it at all, but it has an Allosaurus or something on the cover. It's probably supposed to be a raptor, but it has the you know the Allosaurus triangle horn things above the eyes. It was published in '98, so the raptor in the cover has quills on the back of its head and going down its neck. So you know, exciting stuff. And on the back cover, there's an Archaeopteryx or something. Anyway, I grabbed that because it has dinosaurs on it. Another book. Hi, CJ. I'm doing all right. How are you, sweetheart? I see you well. I'm just yapping. I'll get you a good boy in a second. But how are you, CJ? I'm doing okay. One of the other books I grabbed was the cover of the book. People, the testimonies or whatever on the cover of the book were like, this guy is the best sci-fi writer in the modern age or whatever. In the modern era. I don't think I had ever heard of him, but maybe if I had, maybe I have seen or read some of his stuff before. I don't know. But the book is called "The Moon is a Cruel Mistress." From what I gather from like the flaps inside the book, the synopsis is that like in the future, it's sci-fi. In the future, Earth sends people to penal colonies on the moon, like we did with Australia, I guess. And then in the people stuck on the moon rebel against Earth, and yeah. So I want to read that. I looked it up on YouTube to see if there's a movie or something. There's not. Oh, if there is, it didn't show up on YouTube. There's an audiobook. Someone uploaded the whole audiobook onto YouTube or recorded it themselves. I don't know. Years ago. And each chunk of the audiobook is like 4 hours long. So, I don't know, maybe I'll read the book along with the audiobook on YouTube. Those are the three books I grabbed, and then I grabbed two more books I have right here on my side table. They're collections of science fiction. Um, one is this the smaller book here is the world's best science fiction of 1970. So like that's before my dad was born. It's just so I don't know if it holds up, but I grabbed these two because they're both compilations of like I guess what was at the time considered the best sci-fi writings and novels, novelettes, and short stories. It's like okay, that's probably good to grab because it's like what was considered the best stuff at the time, at least by the people that compiled these stories into one publication. And the other one I grabbed was the 21st edition, uh, 21st annual collection, and it's like 3 times the size or double the size of the 1970 edition. So, if you guys don't mind, maybe tonight try reading some sci-fi from the 70s, because I'm curious if there's anything good in there. Anyway, let's get you a good boy. Wow, thank you for being patient with me, sweetheart. But how are you, CJ? I'm doing good. I'm doing good. It actually snowed for once. Was it great? It snowed for a while. We got maybe over an inch that stuck. But it's probably already starting to melt. So I was very wet snow. It didn't stick to the sidewalk or street at all. But so the streets and stuff were really wet, but the snow didn't stick. Very big snowflakes. It even hailed yesterday. It hailed yesterday, which was neat. Anyway, here we go. Wow, here's a good boy. Wow. Thank you for being here. Thank you for looking good, chatting. Spending time with us on the stream. Thank you. It's always good to see you. Wow. Always good to see you. You're a very, very good boy. Sorry, I got that burp in time, maybe. That's a very cute little Vaporeon tap emote. Super cute. Thank you for the 5 stream streak, CJ. Thank you. Yeah, retro sci-fi. I guess 70s is retro, right? What year did the first Star Wars film come out? 70 something. So, this was before Star Wars. Anyway. Wow, you're a very, very good boy. And you've been working very, very hard this week. And I'm very, very proud of you, sweetheart. You're a very, very good boy. Good. Good boy, wow, good boy. Good boy, wow, good boy, good boy, good boy, good boy, good boy, good boy, good boy. Sorry. Good boy, wow, good boy. Good boy, good boy, good boy, good boy, good boy, good boy, good boy. Very good boy. All right.
Good boy, well, good boy. You're such a good boy, yes you are. Yes, you are such a good boy. Good boy, well, good boy. You're such a good boy, yes you are. Yes, you are such a good boy. Good boy, well, good boy. Oh, yes, you are such a good boy. Good boy, well, good boy, good boy, good boy. Look at you, such a good boy. Yes, you are. Yes, you are such a good boy. Good boy, wow, good boy, 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 good boy. Good boy, wow, good boy.
Thank you. Wow. Hopefully that was okay for you. Thank you for the hi, Tracy Jane. Thank you. So do we want to read something from the 1970 compilation or the? I don't know when the other one was printed. I guess we can look at that. I don't even know if they're the same annual collection of sci-fi. um, so, let's see. So, the 1971 says World's Best Science Fiction 1970, an anthology of the year's best science fiction stories by Robert Silverberg, Larry Niven, Keith Roberts, the name's kind of familiar, Harlan Ellison, Richard Wilson, Fritz Lieber, Ursula K. Le Guin, Norman Spinrad, Norman Spinrad, and others, edited by Donald A. Wollheim and Terry Carr. And the thicker one. This book is actually really heavy. It's heavy. It's a heavy book. It says the year's best science fiction, more than 3,100 words of fantastic fiction, edited by Gardner Dozois. 21st annual collection. Winner of the 2003 Locust Award for Best Anthology. So this is 2003. Over 30 years more recent than the 1970 compilation. So I'm actually very curious how different these would be, the contents here. In this anthology, and from the 2003 one, or won the 2003 award, we'll see if, I don't know if it's from 2003, it has Nancy Kress, Paul de Filippo, Robert Reed, Jeff Ryman, Charles Strauss, Michael Swanwick, Harry Turtledove, Werner Vinge, Walter John Williams. And on the back, the 70s book doesn't have anything on the back besides World's Best Science Fiction 1970. It also doesn't have an ISBN barcode. So I guess I don't know if it doesn't have a price on it anywhere. The inside flap here says book club edition, so maybe you got this via subscription or something. Very, very curious. I'm very curious. These both have slip covers. On the spine of the 70s book, it just repeats the title. So I'm guessing it was maybe like a subscription, like a magazine or something. I don't know. But on the back of the 2003 edition, it says Praise for the year's best science fiction, 20th annual collection. Okay, so I guess these are two different anthology collections from different people, because this is the 20th annual collection. Unless this one's from 2000, and then it won an award in 2003. Copyright 2004. So, by Gardner Dozois. Yeah, different people. This was compiled by a different person, and I guess published in 2003, and then this version was published in 2004. Well, the copyright's 2004. I don't know. Interesting. Thank you for the follow, Coconut Killer 22. Thank you. Mwah. How you doing, sweetheart? If you have a favorite ASMR trigger, I'd be happy to do it for you as thanks for your follow. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. All right. But on the back here, praise for the year's best science fiction 20th annual collection. So, if this would either have started in 1970 and then this edition was published in 2000, and it won an award apparently in 2003 for the best anthology, and the copyright in the book itself says 2004. So, this edition was probably printed then. Probably, or at least this printing, this book. Hugo Winter de Zoys presents science fiction that is both provocative and literate in this respected annual anthology. Once again, de Zoy has gathered together a stunning array of the best in shorter science fiction by Publishers Weekly Starred Review. Without question, the de Zoy's science fiction annuals deserve rosettes for all libraries, absolutely. From Kirkus Reviews, this volume continues the high standards of its predecessors. From Library Journal, as satisfying as its predecessors, required reading for the genre's fans. From Booklist, a whole summer's worth of reading, a good representation of some very good writers. From San Diego Union Tribune, 13-time winner of the Locus Award for year's best anthology. So they've been winning that award for 13 years in a row. So I guess whoever did the best science fiction 1970, I guess they stopped at some point, or maybe they kept going, but I don't know. So I'm very curious with this, how this stuff in the 1970 book differs from the 2003 book. Anyway, you want some smooches, Coconut Killer? No worries, we can get you some. Also, the 1970s book certainly has that old book smell, for sure. Yeah. Would you like Coconut Killer? Would you like breathy smooches, slow smooches, fast smooches, or so slow smooches are something like breathy smooches are something like and fast smooches are something like if you don't have a preference, no worries. Breathy? Okay. Sorry, I'm gonna put in some chapstick real quick. My lips are kind of dry. A lot of people like the breathy smooches. All right. Thank you for being patient with me. Thank you. All right. Here's your smooches, Coconut Killer. Thank you for the routine. And thank you for the follow, sweetheart. Thank you. Oh, I'm glad you like them. Kisses are my favorite ASMR sound, by far. Besides maybe like super duper close whispers or ear cleaning, that kind of stuff. Yeah, I don't tingle very much. I don't tingle too often. Uh, the stuff that makes me tingle most consistently is super close sounds like kisses and whispers. So sorry. All right, we'll do a couple more, and then I guess we'll start reading some retro sci-fi from 1970. There you go, Coconut Killer. Hopefully those smooches are okay for you, sweetheart. Thank you for the redeem, dear. Thank you. And thank you for giving the stream a chance. I appreciate that, sweetheart. Thank you. Did you find me through the just browsing the ASMR category, or was I on somebody's recommended? That'd be very flattering, I suppose. The best smooches, thank you. I do my best. I do my best. So, this 19 collection of the world's best science fiction 1970. Guess we'll read the inside slipcover. Sci-Fi, well, I'm glad you did too. Thank you. So, I need to sit over here because the lighting in my room is very bad. So I'll be on this side of you tonight, I suppose, reading. Among the 13 stories in this exciting annual collection, Harlan Ellison's A Boy and His Dog has won the Nebula Award for Best Novella of the Year. Its presence in this volume is a graphic demonstration of the editor's skill in consistently selecting the most provocative works from the best authors in the field. In 13 stunning ventures into the future, you'll encounter a ghoulish new breed of criminal who deals in stolen human organs for transplants, a spellbinding voyage on a haunted spaceship, whose passengers believe it is the universe, an incredible new method of human reproduction using cells from the bodies of mankind's elite, a perilous visit to a planet of almost humans, an Earth so far in the future that its inhabitants summon up the mythical figures of the past for amusement. From imaginative excursions into the shadowy realm of fantasy to ingenious explorations of the someday possible, these stories show the virtually limitless scope of contemporary science fiction. They represent the finest works of the past year, and you'll find all the fascination and wonder that have placed science fiction in the forefront of speculative literature. The authors include Robert Silverberg, Norman Spinrad, Ursula K. Le Guin, Fritz Lieber, Larry Niven, James Tiptree Jr., and other masters of the art. The sixth edition of World's Best Science Fiction more more than lives up to its title, whether set among strange races on far distant worlds or in the unfamiliar depths of human minds reared in future societies. Its stories must surely be ranked as not only the year's top tales, but among the greatest, most thrilling ever published. All right, well, let's find out. So these were all, I guess, published in 1970 or around then. All right, and then we have copyright 1970, interior artwork by Jack Gone, printed in the United States of America. So then it gives us the index or whatever it's called. Excuse me. All right, we'll read the introduction here. I might take the slipcover off. They're always, I just have a hard time reading books with slipcovers on them. I'm going to take it off for a bit. I will not throw it away or anything. The book itself has that kind of that texture. So I don't know when the last time somebody read through this physical book was. I know my grandpa read every single book in all those boxes multiple times. So he was probably the last person to read this. All right. Introduction. The stories in this book were all published in 1969, the concluding year of the 60s, and it's interesting to see how much they exemplify the state of the art as we turn to a new decade. The 60s were a period of turmoil and discovery for science fiction writers. There was a continual influx of fine new writers to the field, and they brought with them new ideas, new attitudes, new techniques. Sometimes it seemed as though we were witnessing a full-scale revolution. That the established writers would be completely outshone by the new lights. At other times, it seemed equally as clear that the newer writers were rushing off in all directions, aimlessly, and that what we had was not so much a revolution as a collapse. It was, of course, a reflection of the world in which we're living, with its generation gaps, non-linear thinking, global village concepts, and all the rest. The people who write science fiction may have their imaginations in the future, but their psyches, like everyone else's, are always in the present. So while the scientific ideas of their stories echoed the exploding boundaries of knowledge, the story themes and modes reflected the world around us. If you doubt that, consider the increasing use of near cinematic styles by placing in the science fiction of the decade, or see The Big Flash by Norman Spinrad in this volume, which is the last one in the anthology. A result of movies' emergence as a major art form and of television become a prime source of information. Consider the non-linear new wave styles of story construction that were tried more and more in the field. Consider more and more gaudy imagery. The more and more gaudy imagery and unfettered imagination that abounded in the 60s, Bradbury, Pohl, and Wyndham seem almost humdrum next to Cordwainer Smith, Samuel R. Delaney. Hi, Gravelord. This is an anthology It is called The World's Best Fiction of 1970. All these stories were published in 1969. We're reading the introduction right now. Um, I have another anthology collection right here from a different group of people published in 2003. Um, so uh, I think we'll read one story from the 1970s book, and then we'll read the first one from both, and then we'll see how they compare. Because I'm very curious, because they're separated still by like 30 something years, almost, um, about 30 years. So I'm very curious to see what's changed, and they both have different people, different authors in the um, anthology. So the 1970 book has Robert Silverberg, Larry Niven, Keith Roberts, Harlan Ellison, Richard Wilson, Fritz Lieber, Ursula K. Le Guin, and Norman Spinrad. The 2003 book, or 2004, I don't know. It won the 2003 Locus Award for Best Anthology, and then the book says it was the copyright is 2004, so I don't know. It had, the more recent one here, which is also double the thickness of the 70s book, has Nancy Kress, Paul D. Filippo, Robert Reed, Jeff Ryman, Charles Strauss, Michael Sandwick, Harry Turtledove, Werner Vinge, and Walter Vaughan Williams. So I don't know if you recognize any of those names, Gravelord, but that's who we're dealing with here. We're just reading the introduction. And it's pretty cool. Like, they're like, yeah, we had a bunch of young people start writing science fiction, and isn't the TV and movie thing kind of neat? So it's like, oh, yeah, 1969. Yeah, okay. And these were all my grandpa's books. I don't know how my grandpa got World's Best Science Fiction 1970. The inside of the flap of the slip cover says Book Club Edition, so I wonder if he had a subscription or found it somewhere else. My grandpa went to one of the books in the boxes had a stamp from a place that it was like for swapping novels with people, like a book swap. So, and a bunch of them had sticker price tags from thrift stores and stuff. So, yeah, my grandpa liked to read a lot. He really liked, in the books, he has a bunch of books from Clan of the Cave Bear or Tribe of the Cave Bear series, and Dragon Riders of Pern. He really liked I think her name was Anne McCaffrey, something like that. She wrote the Dragon Riders of Pern novels. He really liked those. He had a bunch of them. So, lots of books with dragons and stuff in them. On the fantasy side, and the sci-fi was a bunch of. Sounds familiar. Also, hi Ketchup. Hi Jeannie. The author that wrote Clan of the Cave Bear also wrote The Mammoth Hunters and Valley of Horses. Valley of Horses. So those were the other ones by the author in there. I don't have those with me right now, but yeah. How you doing, Jeannie? How you doing? Thank you for the water in the stretch. Thank you. Hyperion. I'll let me Google that real quick. I still have a bunch of Halo novels that a friend gave me years ago. Back in middle school. I see. Thank you for the treat too, Jeannie. Thank you. Let's see. Hyperion by Dan Simmons. There were a bunch of E.E. Doc books by E.E. Doc somebody. Bunch of little like paperback novels. I'm old enough that they didn't have any barcodes on them. So. Hyperion. Sorry about the sniffles. 1989 science fiction novel by Dan Simmons, the first book in the Hyperion Canto series, structured like Chaucer's Canterbury Tales. Okay, I don't know if there's a copy of Hyperion in there. I guess I need to go look through them, see if he's got a copy of Hyperion. Do you like it, Gravelord? Are you enjoying it? Thank you for the treat, Jeannie. I'm gonna grab some Smarties. I'm gonna have some Smarties. Yeah. There's a copy of Mammoth Hunters and Clan of the Cave Bear and Valley of Horses. Not really. I see. The books I grabbed that besides these two anthologies. One was a Dinotopia novel titled Dinotopia Lost. And there was another one. The first book I grabbed it because there was what to me looked like an Allosaurus, but it's probably a raptor. I think it's called Dino Summer. Something like that. And then I grabbed The Moon is a Cruel Mistress, because the book cover was like, this writer's like the best sci-fi guy in the modern era. So I was like, okay, let me give this one a try. It looks like an Allosaurus to me. The book was the copyright was 1998, so a couple years after Jurassic Park. I don't know when JP3 came out. I think that was 2001 or something, right? So and the what was it called again? Let me go grab him. Let me go grab him. I'll be right back. Okay. It's not a Jurassic Park novel. I think it's a sequel to whatever story it's called, where they go to South America and then there's like this super isolated. So this is a year after Jurassic Park Lost World. Excuse me. It's set in the same setting where they find this pocket of extinct megafauna living on this isolated plateau in South America. Except it's like 50 years after they find them, and nobody likes dinosaurs anymore. I don't know why that's like a consistent theme with this and the world films, but no one would be tired of dinosaurs. It's so stupid. Anyway, to me, it's stupid. There's a circus in South America that goes bankrupt, and a group of people decide they want to reintroduce these circus animals back into the wild. So they go on this trek with these multi-ton animals to get them to this plateau, I guess. It's called Dinosaur Summer by Greg Bear. On the back, it has a testimony from James Gurney and a guy named Ray Bradbury and Dan Simmons. Those names, and Ray Harryhausen, all three of those names are very familiar to me. They're very familiar to me, but yeah, the cover has what I think is a velociraptor, because in the book, in the synopsis, in the slipcover flaps, there's a velociraptor named Dagger, and it could be the velociraptor, but I think those are his hands on his arms. And it has like the big It has the horns kind of crests above the eyes that Allosaurus has, and they put quills going down from the back of its head down its back. So yeah, but like I think those are its hands, because you can see its belly. Excuse me. But I don't know. It's very strange, but it's definitely a 90s dinosaur to me looking at it. And then I have Dinotopia Lost by Alan Dean Foster. It's not as thick as Dinosaur Summer. Title, if it is indeed the hands weird. Yeah, because there's one on the back cover, and you can see its hands, kind of. So, they're pronated. They're pronated. It's weird. Anyway. And then the third one I grabbed doesn't involve dinosaurs at all. Give me one moment. I need to blow my nose real quick. Okay, sorry about that. I don't know, Genie. Should I accept? I'll accept your friend request. It's fine. Yeah, that's the whole cover. So the front cover is uh the it's green. It's brown. It's a reddish brown on the book, but in this image, which is pretty good. It's a very pretty piece of art. Like the clouds and the that mountain back there with the waterfall, very pretty. But yeah, it's very post Renaissance Renaissance art to me. Um, yeah, I don't know. the the head's very Allosaurus. I don't know. They warmed the colors for the book cover. Like the Allosaurus, the animal in the foreground, isn't green on the book cover. It's more of a red brown. I don't know why they did that. I don't know why they did that, but they did. Area of paleo art, yes. Yeah, I couldn't tell you what it's called, but there's definitely a name for it, for sure. Okay. The third book I grabbed is called "The Moon is a Harsh Mistress" by Robert A. Heinlein. I believe that's how you pronounce that. And it says the greatest science fiction writer of the modern age, his classic Hugo Award-winning novel of libertarian revolution. It's got quotes by Tom Clancy back here. So yeah, I grabbed it because it's the greatest science fiction writer of the modern age, and the cover is actually pretty cool. But I believe it's about penal colonies on the moon rebelling against Earth, something like that. Would make sense. Yeah, the post Jurassic World or Jurassic Park. Excuse me, my goodness. It's called the Renaissance. Anyway, let's finish this introduction in the 1970 book. Okay. Science fiction is currently going through Jurassic Park is amazing. Yes, it's still amazing. Science fiction is currently going through a boom period in terms of both sales and quality. Also, hi Fiverr, I'm sorry if I didn't say hi to you, sweetheart. I see you. I see you. Um, in terms of both sales and quality, and it's difficult to guess which caused the other, or if indeed they're coincidental. Are people buying more and more science fiction because there's more good science fiction to buy, or are writers telling better stories because there's more money in it now? Or neither of the above? One thing does seem certain, though. The large science fiction readership makes it possible for all types of styles of science fiction to find a market, and this is likely to continue and even add to the momentum of quality that we have now. World's Best Science Fiction has always been an eclectic selection, in part because the two editors often have divergent opinions, but more often because both editors are interested in the broad spectrum of literary possibilities that science fiction offers. Thus, in this volume, we publish excellent, straightforward stories by Larry Niven and Ursula Le Guin, along with harsh, controversial story like Harlem Ellison's and strange hybrid futuristic fantasy by Fritz Lieber. We think this kind of variety is one of the prime strengths of modern science fiction. The 70s are beginning now, and we look forward to finding out what kinds of science fiction they'll bring us. One guess would be that since the 60s produced so much experimentalism, during the 70s much ought to be done to reap the harvest of innovations, to make use of the full range of the new techniques and literary ideas that have barely been used so far. Writers such as Robert Silverberg, Keith Roberts, and others already seem to be doing this. For the rest, well, the fascination of the future is that we never know we never know for sure what will happen. Double that, square it, and cube it when you talk about science fiction. The editors. The editors on this anthology are Donald A. Wollheim and Terry Carr. But yeah, this is 1970, so this is pre-Star Wars. Like they talk about the new television and movies being new and exciting. Okay, so I will preface this. I don't know exactly what we're getting into here. I don't know if any of this is going to have naughty words. If they do, I will not say them. I'll try to catch myself while reading. We'll see. I might fall into like some sort of trance while reading. Okay, but the first one in the book here is A Man Spekith by Richard Wilson. Hi, Brad. Thank you for the redeem, sweetheart. Thank you. What a wonderful timing. Okay, so it'll probably be like 15 minutes before we actually get into the book here. And that's okay. What kind of smooches would you like, Brad? Would you like breathy smooches, slow smooches, fast smooches, a different kind of smooch? Sorry, just pulling up the Stream Manager on my phone. Hee. Breathy ones? Okay.
I'm doing well. I'm doing well, Fiverr. I'm doing good. I hope you're doing well.
couple more smooches, and then we'll get you your good bread.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. Thank you for this much redeem bread. Hope that was okay for you. Thank you for the redeem, dear. Thank you. Bread, you're a very, very good bread. Good bread, good bread, good bread, good bread, good bread, good bread. Bread, you're a very, very good bread. Good bread, good bread, good bread, good bread, good bread, good bread, good bread. Bread, you worked very, very hard this week. And I'm very proud of you, sweetheart. Thank you for being here. Thank you for lurking and trusting and spending time with us in the stream. Thank you. Very, very good bread. Good bread, good bread, good bread, good bread, good bread, good bread, good bread. Good bread, good bread, good bread, good bread, good bread.
Excuse me, sorry.
Good bread, good bread, good bread, good bread, good bread, good bread, good bread. Good bread, good bread, good bread, good bread, good bread, good bread. Good bread, good bread, good bread, good bread, good bread, good bread, good bread. Bread, thank you for being who you are and doing what you do. I think it makes the world a better place. In my humble opinion, anyway. Very, very, very good bread.
All right. Oh, sorry.
Good bread. You're such a good bread, yes you are. Yes, you are such a good bread. A very, very good bread, yes you are. Yes, you are such a good bread. Good bread, good bread, good bread. Oh, look at you, such a good bread, yes you are. Yes, you are such a good bread. Good bread, good bread, good bread. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Good bread, good bread. Such a good bread, yes you are. Yes, you are such a good bread. Good bread, 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 good bread. Mwah, mwah.
All right. The good bread. There's your good bread. Thank you for the redeem. Thank you. We have the next ad break in about 4 minutes. So, just heads up, we'll be doing some mouth sounds for a few minutes. Hopefully they're up to stuff. My mouth is kind of dry because we've been yapping and reading, or trying to read. So, thank you for the watching. I will drink some water. All right.
Here's the mouth sound.
Sorry, goodness. All right. There you go, Brad. Thank you for the redeem spirit. Thank you, thank you. Hope that was okay for you. All right, we'll start reading after the ad break. Okay, but good luck at work, Brad. If you have work. Good luck, sweetheart. I hope you have a good day. Thank you for being here. It's always good to see you, Brad. So, I have uploaded. I have all of the chunks of the first 2-hour stream from Thursday up now. Those are all up. I'm doing them one a day because they're very big and they take a couple hours to process to HD and stuff. So I've just been doing one every day, along with the previous stream, the previous night's stream. Hi, Kool-Aid Man. Hi, sweetheart. How you doing? Hope you're doing okay. I'm sorry you came in doing an ad break. Hope you don't get hit with the full 3 minutes, even though there's 20 seconds of it left, apparently. If you guys get ads at all. I forgot this is an ASMR stream. Anyway. Again, so we're reading some sci-fi from 1969. This is an anthology from 1970. I don't know if there's going to be any untoward words in here. I guess we'll find out. But we read the introduction. The first story in this anthology, I don't know how long it is. Not too long. We should be able to finish it in an hour. But I have to kind of sit to the side of my microphone to angle the book so I can see the pages because the lighting in my room is terrible, as we all know. Okay, so the first story in this anthology is A Man Spekith by Richard Wilson. Richard Wilson has a talent for taking old themes and breathing new life into them. As he showed in See Me Not 2 years ago in this series, he is now back with a different and enjoyable treatment of the Last Man story. Don't read this. It's in Old English and the spelling is different. Jingling is what a man speaketh to. Oh, okay. Jingling is when a man speaketh to most by far most beforn folk, and clappeth is as a mile, and taketh no keep what he saith. Now that you've read it anyway, you bright ones, I'll tell you that Geoffrey Chaucer wrote it in The Parson's Tale. What he said was, "But I didn't need but I need." What he said was, "But I didn't. I needn't translate. You probably had no more trouble with it than if you'd been listening to the kind of English disc jockeys once spoke on rock radio stations." This is a story of a jingler nearly 700 years removed from Geoffrey's time. It's the tale of a disc jockey named Jabber McAbber, which he sometimes called himself, and other times, at other contemporary music stations, as they called themselves. He was known as Esoteric Ed, or Happy Mac, or James the First, for he moved on. He moved from Cincinnati to Akron to Chicago to Phoenix. He dreamed of making the big time in New York, but that call never came. Another kind of call came, though. It came in Phoenix, where he took the fancy of an eccentric billionaire who owned, among things and people, a radio television network, an advertising agency, a movie studio, a publishing house, a university, several electronics companies, a city of some size in the Southwest. He owned most of the real estate and enough of the politicians, one way or another, and a deactivated rocket base in the desert. You know the name of the billionaire and the single-minded determination in which he went after anything he wanted. More about him later. Our disc jockey's real name was Edward James McHenry. He was 38 years old. He was 38 years old now, and sometimes he had to force it. The old spontaneity wasn't always there. The drive had ebbed. The zing had zung. Once the words had tumbled out, more of them than he could articulate, but now it took an effort to make them flow. His delivery was more deliberate, not rehearsed, but thought out. It comforted him to know his plight was not unique. A writer had told him of times when it took a monumental effort to roll a sheet of paper into the typewriter. He'd known artists who said similar. He'd known poets, too, and peasants. Oh, yes, I've known poets and peasants and pallbearers and priests and princes crossed my path, or I theirs in foreign climes and on native shores, for princes travel. And I've known princesses, native born like Grace K. Rayner and Rita H. Kahn. I don't know those people. And those of alien corn like Elizabeth and Margaret, not to mention whatsoever name and whose is. But I've strayed from my theme, which is music, so I'll get off and spin a record. As we used to say before tape, spin with me, won't you? As we enjoy the sounds of the Jefferson airplane. 2 minutes and 40 seconds later, he was on again. He'd prepared for the end of the music. In the old days, it would have been off the cuff, off the top of his head, off of the world, or off the world, sorry. Wasn't that the most, where you can go from there except elsewhere? And so we spin you on, you spinnable people, to the obligatory scene. If you remember Drama 201, we spin you, I say, to this world from our sponsor, this important announcement. Friends, fellow human beings, mortals like me, are you troubled with irregularity? He went on too long, unnecessarily stretching it out. You may have wondered who's been talking here, besides Ed. I mean, words don't come out of a void, especially when they're not Ed's words, and Ed's the last man alive. I've been thinking. Me, Marty. I'm a machine, and what the first letter of my acronym stands for. My full name is Machine Amplifying Rationalizations Treating of Yore. Or maybe it's Machine Assessing Reality as Told to You. It doesn't matter. The acronym makers are long gone. I realize that as a machine, I should be positive. I shouldn't tell you different things, or variations of the same thing, and claim there's no real difference. To do this is to be guilty of what somebody called terminological inexactitude. I think the somebody was Winston Churchill. Of course, I don't really mean I really think. That would be a lie, and it would not do to have a machine capable of lying, especially since one of my functions is to amend, correct, edit, amplify, and otherwise make more meaningful for posterity the mouthings of esoteric ed. But first, let's listen to let's listen some more to Ed. The following is spoken by Ed, I think. It says Ed colon. Sometimes I tell different stories, appear in the lonely, and make up alternate pasts for myself. I use different names for my different pasts, for my different moods. Some days I'm Gaylord Glignol, sole survivor of a destroyed world, and devil-may-care chronicler of its last agony, except that I do care. My nonchalance disguises the deep hurt I felt and feel at the death of Earth. Sometimes I'm Hank Hardcastle, steely-eyed hero of 1,000 thriving adventures, scion of a near-noble family. Other times I'm Harry Protagonist, a space disc jockey who's been set whirling in the void on an unfathomable mission. I need to communicate my fears, hopes, fantasies, and above all, my puzzlement to my imagined listeners. Sometimes I forget who I really am. A person can tamper just so long with what he is, pretending to be another before he becomes, to some extent, one of those other selves. Then his own self is lost, or blurred. Too much blurring is bad. It's desirable sometimes to hide from oneself, to pretend to merge the ego, a fantasy personality, to the life, to live or dream vicariously, but I may be overdoing it. Who am I really? Does it matter as long as I get through the day? I owe myself and you, my listeners, that much. It is my duty to you and to myself. But a certain tranquility is needed to reach the end of the day. Some achieved this by natural talent, by their very vivaciousness or stick to itiveness. Oh my goodness. Doggedly they breathed in and out and took sustenance from time to time and went to the bathroom to rid themselves of the residue of previous sustenance takings, and did a little work, and lo, it was a new day. Some never achieved the new day. They funked it. They flunked out. Others got there, though, by drink or drugs or pot. I speak of back then, you understand, before the now. You may have noticed that I'm not always lucid, though once in a nightclub I was Larry Lucid, explainer of contemporary society to those less informed, but I coped. I liked music. I always had something on, either on the hi-fi or the radio. I used to bounce through the day on a big beat that included me in because it naturally assumed that everybody was a part of it, and approved and throbbed along with it, and so I was one with all that went on. But that was long ago, and now I'm part of nothing, because nothing is going on. The only thing that goes on is what I make happen, and even that may not be real. They've done something to me. I feel banded, like a Canadian duck. I don't have a circlet around wrist or ankle, but I know something's got me somewhere. Maybe I've been implanted. I've already been tapped and bugged. I read once that some ornithologists had attached a radio to a condor to find out how far it went for food, or to rest, or whatever condors do to get by. I didn't find out whether the condor knew it had been bugged, but I know something's been done to me, and I resent it. I don't mind doing my bit for science, but if they've tampered with my human dignity, if they've psyched me in the psyche. And the following is by Marty, the machine. This is Marty again. I'll tell you more about the man who put our hero up here. His name was John Potter Parnell, and because he was a sanitary facilities manufacturer, he was known as Potty, or John. Sometimes he was called Young Potty. to distinguish him from his father, who was also known as Potty, and to a few inmates as Poopy, young Potty, and 50, or at 50, was still in his father's shadow. At 50, was still in his father's shadow. The old man had founded the business and made the original millions. Hygienic Inc. manufactured most of the country's and later the world's toilets, urinals, sinks, towel racks, and dispensers of sanitary and prophylactic devices. The millions and then the billions poured in at such a rate that when Poopy retired, Potty could have sat back and let inertia provide opulently for him and all his heirs. But Potty, he really preferred John, had come late to the presidency and wasn't content to let Hygienic expand at a safe, sure rate. He established a foundation that awarded grants for research. He set up an experimental division, hired scientists, and turned them loose to work at their own pace and let him know when they'd got something. He sponsored a competition to design a better bidet. He sent engineers to Washington to see what Hygienic could do in the space program. It was Potty's emissaries to NASA who led to the hiring of Ed. They'd got him from a subsidiary company, Arizona Air Talk, for which he'd been broadcasting as Jim McHenry, Jock of the Desert. The Jock's music talk show was the despair of competitors in the rock radio game. We'll come back to Ed. Here's some information about me. Oh, we'll come back to Ed. Sorry. Reading can be hard sometimes. We'll come back to Ed. Here's some information about me, Marty the Machine. It's not as if I'm a machine, singular. I'm the end product of many machines, sophisticated and otherwise. I know everything they know because I'm the synthesis, the reincarnation of all of them. Let me answer your other unspoken question, whoever you are. Why don't I sound like a machine? How come I come on colloquial instead of respectfully, as befits the man-machine relationship, like you master, me robot, or solemnly like the data you have requisitioned are stored in circuits in subtank 4739C of my vast interconnected memory banks. There will be an unavoidable delay while the necessary hookups are made to retrieve this really requested material. Nuts. Everything I have is yours. Whoever, wherever, or whenever you are, instantly. Sometimes you don't even have to ask. This whole ship is my memory circuit. I extend into every nook, even to places Ed prefers not to think about, like the reconstitution unit. You might almost say I am the ship, but that would be an exaggeration and immodest. If you still think I sound more human than mechanical, it's only natural. Hell, I was made by human beings. How else should I talk? Like Mowgli's wolves or Tarzan's apes? Machines talk good, like colloquial. That's a hard word. Machines have been talking for generations. Ask Victor. Okay, the following is spoken by Ed. I have this reluctance to eat what keeps me thin. I'm not bloaty. Old tum don't sag. Old chin ain't double. No dewlaps yet on old dewlaps yet on old cheek flesh. I'm a pretty good specimen by any standards, and I guess it's because I'm abstemious. I don't eat much. So certainly not between meals. You wouldn't either if everything you had for dinner was something you'd had 100, 1,000 times before. It's reconstituted stuff. I've bought used cars and second-hand boats, and if I'd settled down, I might even have bought a used Oriental rug. But I'd have drawn the line at used food. My folks talk sometimes about the Depression and told me about the cheap things they ate, but at least they'd been the first to eat them. They came out of those bad times strong and proud. I can sit down to dinner with as much pleasure as an explorer at a cannibal feast. I don't want to eat this stuff. Sanitary as it must be. That has already sanitary as it must be. That has already passed at least once through the alimentary canal. There's no comfort in knowing it's no foreign waterway that's been navigated. It's my own, my native gland. It's an affront to the system, except it's not the system that's outraged. The body can take it, it's the imagination that revolts. It's got this way of exaggerating to the point where you say, never mind. Where you say, never mind what the facts are, things ought to be different. The following is spoken by Marty. I have to defend the reconstitution works against Ed's slander. After all, it's a fellow machine. What comes out of it goes back into Ed perfectly clean. It's cleaner than what he got in those fancy restaurants he enjoyed, and a damn sight more sanitary and nutritious than the weird meals he cooked for himself in his various bachelor apartments. Excuse the digression. I had to get it out of my system. As Ed was getting out of his, getting it out of his. If these notes were published by some future chronicler, some poor MA desperate for a new subject for his doctoral dissertation, they could be titled just that. Quote, getting it out of his system. Ed's trouble is that whatever he gets out, it goes back in. His only irreversible catharsis is verbal. Or do I mean oral? What I'm trying to do is write a story with no cooperation from my subject. I'm not a trained writer, but I appreciate the difficulties. Of course, I'm not writing in the strict sense. No hands, you know. So I do what he does. Talk. And the words are put down for posterity or put up as preserves are. It's kind of automatic writing. It's a kind of automatic writing without slates, certainly without sleight of hand. If I write or talk too much, put it down or up, to my inexperience, first one writes, then he edits. I couldn't really be expected to know very much, consisting as I do mostly of a bunch of circuits in and near the whole of this experimental capsule of potty Parnell's. My job is to store away, preserve Ed's meandering mind, or as much of it as he reveals through his on-mic monologues, plus as much more as can be Waschsaft by machine. They had to trust to a machine. Sorry, they had to trust the machine because nobody else was going up here with Ed, and nobody did. My knowledge of Ed was gathered piece by piece as people fed into my predecessor machine's information provided by interviews with hundreds of people who'd known Ed and talked about him before. Potty gave him his job. There's also the information provided by Ed himself, both in direct interviews and during some electronic gastrointestinal spying. It began at Ed's first luncheon date with Potty, when Ed swallowed a miniaturized transmitter embedded in a raw oyster, and it lasted until it had passed through Ed's system. It wasn't as messy as it might seem. Ed was Potty's week-long house guest, and all the bathrooms were part of Hygienic's experimental system. Waste products were processed all the time, and it was mere routine to retrieve the device which had lately left Ed. Okay, I think that's the end of the first chapter. I don't know if this is making... I guess... So, it's kind of a hard read for me, the way it's written. I don't know. So, I suppose what it's hinting at here is that Ed's brain is trapped in this machine that Marty is maintaining, and because this guy whose dad started a hygienics company that makes toilets got really rich, and then the son used all this money to spin up all this research and projects. So Ed's his whole body's either in a spaceship or his brain is in something like that. All right, so I think this is chapter 2. Ed, it's not fair. Other castaways had their pals along, or found them. Caruso and had Friday, and I wonder how they really got through their long weekends. The Swiss family Robinson had each other. The lonely shepherd had his dog, not to mention favored members of his flock. I mean, everybody had somebody, like Holmes had Watson, and Nixon had Agnew, and Bergen had McCarthy. But here I am without a soul. No Sancho Panza, no Tonto, No stooge or straight man, not even a robot. Considering who they are, they might as well have provided me with a faithful dog flush. Because poop jokes. I guess. Marty. So the following is spoken by Marty. This is really not bad. I didn't think our untutored subject had it in him to make that double-barreled allusion to Potty Parnell's business and Elizabeth Barnett Browning's dog. There are times when I have more than a grudging admiration for Harry protagonist or James the First, or whoever he thinks he is. He's also full of little sexual references, which is not surprising considering the state of his deprivation. The business of Crusoe's Friday had the shepherd and the shepherd's favorite. It's a wonder Ed hasn't long since burst from his cell with the hell of a yell and what? Having burst, whether would he wander? I'm only a machine, it's true, but compared to him, I'm lucky. Being partly electrical, I have plenty of outlets. He has few, other than his mouth, his mic, and his music. I, with no needs, have him. He, with all the human needs concentrated in him, does not know I exist. This is sadness. I can't feel it, of course, but I know it intellectually. Should I tell you how the doom came? Jean Dixon predicted it, and a lot of people, Ed included, laughed. She said that she did not want to alarm anybody unnecessarily, but a crack would develop along the spine of the world, and Earth would split apart like a cantaloupe. There'd be no saving anybody. It happened more or less that way. If you pushed button D, I'd spout the whole story, reconstructed from Earth broadcasts sent as the Earth Holocaust was in progress. Ed heard them. He drank a lot as he listened. He cried and cursed. But he was happy that he'd been spared. Relatively happy. He still drinks a lot. Potty had fitted out the satellite for his own eventual use as a holiday space yacht, and had built in a few hidden luxuries. One was a dummy ballast tank holding 1,000 gallons of bourbon. Hygienics chief chemist, who was from an old Kentucky mountain family, had distilled it for Potty's personal use. The bourbon is decanted into a disguised tap. Ed found it accidentally one night. He's made good use of it since. The following is spoken by Ed. I wish I had somebody to listen to, somebody as exciting, as witty, as alive as I am. I could play back my own tapes, of course, but there'd be no novelty in that. I know what I've said. It's more exciting now to wonder what I'll say next. High five her. Is this story fun? I don't know. I feel like it's getting somewhere now. So now we know Ed is stuck in space all by himself in a spaceship with and he doesn't know Marty is there. But Marty knows Ed is there. And the world's split in half like a melon, which is interesting. To bundle up for story time. I see. Where was I? The damnedest things come out, so excellently said, so apt that I'd be a fool to waste my time with replays. I'm the distillation of all I know of all I know, of all everyone's known. I'm the end product of an entire culture. Homer, Shakespeare, Milton Burrell, A. Burrell, all that anyone's done lives on only in me. Ain't that a laugh? They used to laugh at me for my literary pretensions, for being a dilettante, for skimming and reading digests or excerpts, for skipping the dull parts and savoring the best of the best. Now here I am alone, the sole repository, the poor schlocky vessel, the greatest by default, pretty keen, hey boy? Hey Lionel Thrilling, hey Norman Podhortz, hey Professor Twit of English Lit, how do you like them apples? Sorry, I'm probably not reading this out loud as like energetic as Ed would probably say this. My delivery is probably not great. these jokes was also written in like 1969, so they're not relevant. I'm not following them very much at all. Anyway, pretty sour. What? Sour by the hour. Of all the people in the world who might have represented it, don't it just frost you that the residue happens to be little old yours, truly, with an IQ about 2 points higher than plant life? Like it or not, I'm what's left. Ready or not, here I come, hell bent for eternity. Look me over, posterity, read me and weep. You were expecting maybe some knowledgeable interpreter of the current scene, some fact-packed fellow who could tell you true, like one of those copy readers on the New York Times. Where was I? No such luck, buddy. You got me, is what you got. All right, let me finish this page here, and I'll get your smooches, Diamond. What kind of smooches would you like, sweetheart? If they'd had any sense, they'd have packed this tomb the way the Egyptians did, with all the paraphernalia a body might need on the other side. They'd have supplemental me with the things that they used to put in time capsules. The Encyclopedia Britannica and the World Almanac and microfilms of the New York Times. They'd have ballasted me with bound volumes of the New Yorker and Harper's and the Atlantic. Had they but known, they could have dispensed with me entirely and packed in a few 100 pounds of reproductions of art treasures from the Louvre and tapes of the Philharmonic and highbrow stuff like that. And so they got, and you're stuck with old excess baggage himself, me. Slow smooches, you got it. All right, we're on page 10. Are you guys enjoying this story at all? I don't know. It feels, I don't know. It feels like a lot of these jokes are going over my head. Okay. Sorry. It ain't The Hobbit, but it's pretty neat. At least, this is cool. Okay, give me one more. I got on my nose now. Hi, Maury. How you doing, sweetheart? Good to see you. We're reading some old sci-fi. From my grandpa passed away a couple years ago, and my aunt and uncle were going through the storage rooms in the house, and they found a bunch of his books. And I looked through them, spent like an hour looking through them yesterday. I've picked out 5. 2 are anthologies of sci-fi. The one we're reading through right now is the first story in an anthology called The World's Best Science Fiction 1970. So all these stories were published in 69 and then printed in 70 in this collection here. We're reading The Man Spekith. It's a twist on The Last Man or something. It's about a radio jockey who ends up being the last human alive because there was a company that made toilets, and they were like the best company, Hygienics, and the founder passed away. Then his son used all this money generated from selling the best toilets and toiletries and stuff, and put them into funding all these projects and experiments. And they made a spaceship, a space yacht. And the last surviving man is Ed, who is a disc jockey. He did radio shows, and he ends up on the space yacht all by himself. Besides Marty, who is this AI machine mind in the spaceship, whose job it is to monitor Ed. But Ed doesn't know Marty exists, so Ed just thinks he's all by himself in space forever. That's kind of tragic. Like, Marty's there, and Ed wants someone to talk to. I guess we'll see if he finds out Marty exists. But it's interesting. It's from '69, so a lot of the jokes are just going over my head. But it's okay. All right, I can get you some scratches after I get Diamond some smooches. I want to try to get through this story tonight. We'll see if we do. I don't think we're too far off. But yeah.
Here's your smooches, Diamond. But we're doing okay, Maury. It's good to see you, sweetheart. I hope we're having a good week.
Excuse me. Sorry, goodness.
Alright, a few more smooches. And then we can get Maury her fast scratches. 10. 9. 8.
No, it doesn't go. That one's too weak.
There we go. 7. Or 8. I think it was 8. 7. 6. 5. 4. 3. 2. 1. And 0.
There you go, Diamond. Hopefully those switches are okay for you, sweetheart. Thank you for the redeem, dear. Thank you. Thank you. All right. There we go. Please go follow Maury if you're not already. She's a very pretty Bat Lady VTuber. She hasn't streamed in a while, but make sure you go follow her so you can catch her next stream. She always streamed in the mornings, so it was always rough. It was hard for me to catch her streams. The one time I did, I think it was the last time she streamed. Maybe, I don't know. She was watching slime videos where they like scoop it out of a big tub with a ice cream scooper, and she rubbed her feet on our wall. She's very sweet though. She's awesome. She's awesome. Squats. Okay, 5 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're fine, Fiverr. You're fine. All right. Thank you for the follow, sad lonely boy. Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you. I appreciate it lots. Hope you're doing all right. If you have a favorite ASMR trick, I'd be happy to do that for you. Thanks for your follow. Excuse me, sorry for the burst. we're reading some old sci-fi from these howl triggers, like wolf howls. Oh, I see. I could try. Sorry, I'm just getting caught on the mic cover. All right. Yeah, I can give that to you after a bit more scratches. Thank you for the follow, Huntsman 2018. Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. If you have a favorite ASMR trigger, I'd be happy to do it for you. Thanks for your follow. We're reading some old sci-fi. We're reading a short story called "The Man Spekith," or "A Man Spekith" by Richard Wilson, published in 1969. Very good. That's good to hear. Are you saying you're good on your trigger? Sorry. Okay. Thank you for the fast scratches, Maury. Hopefully those were okay for you, sweetheart. Thank you, thank you. Yep. um, I looked through a bunch of books that were my grandpa's, and I grabbed two anthology books here, or two anthology collections of sci-fi stories. The first one, the one we're reading out of right now, is printed. It's a collection of the best sci-fi, considered the best sci-fi of the year 1969 by the editors of this collection here. And then the other one is more recent, from 2004 or 2003, one of the two. It won an award, a Locus Award for the best anthology collection, 2003, and then the copyright in the book itself is 2004. So I don't know. So I'm very interested to see how they compare. The 69, this story here that we're reading is has a lot of jokes and references that go over my head, to say the least. Special gloves? Oh, that's very cool. That's very cool. No, these are just old sci-fi novels and stuff. Some of them are so old they don't even have barcodes on them. Anyway, we can do some awoos. I can try. I've done meows before. Let's see how this goes here. How do I? Oh, oh, oh. Sorry, I'm trying to do it quiet, but nothing happens. Oh, 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 oh. Probably no good, huh? Oh, 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 oh. All right, a couple more. A couple more. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, hi, Cookie. Oh, oh. All right. Hopefully those were adequate. All right. We'll continue with this story here. I want to finish it before we call it a night here. Hope you're doing okay, Cookie. Hope you're doing okay. All right. So, for those of you just joining us, Man Spekith is about this man named Ed, who is on this space yacht. He's the last living human in the universe because Earth split open like a cantaloupe, and everyone died except him because he was on a spaceship. And he thinks he's all by himself. He thinks he's all by himself, but the ship has an onboard machine thing named Marty, who is sentient. He's a sentient machine, and Marty is observing. His job is to observe Ed, and Ed doesn't know he's there. So Ed is lonely, and he wants someone to talk to, and doesn't know that the ship is listening and watching him poop and all this stuff. Okay, you want a good boy? No worries. I'll get that to you. All right.
Huntsman, you're a very, very good boy. Thank you for being your sweetheart. Thank you for lurking and chatting. Spending time with us on the stream. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you. I appreciate it a lot. You're a very, very good boy. Oh, did you want a good boy or a good girl? Sorry. Good boy? Or good girl? Sorry. I just started going autopilot. I apologize. Boy, okay. You're a very, very good boy hunter.
I apologize. I might kind of speed run these trigger requests because I really want to finish reading this story before we call it night, and I don't want to be up too late tonight. Sniffers for Maury too? Okay.
Okay. Good boy, Huntsman. Good boy. 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 You're a very. Sorry for the churn noises. You're a very good boy, Huntsman. Good boy. 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 Good boy, Huntsman. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy, Huntsman. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. You're a very, very good boy, Huntsman. Good boy. 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 Of course, Huntsman. You're welcome. You're welcome. Huntsman, thank you for being who you are. Doing what you do. I think makes the world a better place. In my humble opinion. Anyway. Good boy, Huntsman. Good boy, good boy, good boy. Good boy, Huntsman. Good boy. You're such a good boy. Yes, you are. Yes, you are such a good boy. Such a good boy. Yes, you are. Yes, you are such a good boy. Good boy, Huntsman. Good boy. Oh, look at you. Such a good boy. Yes, you are. Yes, you are such a good boy. Good boy, Huntsman. Good boy. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Good boy. Good boy, Huntsman. Good boy. 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 Good boy.
Okay, Maury. All right. Give me a moment to blow my nose and get you some sniffers. Then a good girl. No, well, we have the next ad break in about 6 minutes here. I usually try to stream for like at least like 2 hours, a little over 2 hours. So like 2 hours, 20 minutes, 2 hours, 30 minutes, something like that. So almost out of water. Alright, so we do have the next ad break in about 5 minutes. Let's get you a good girl before the ad break starts, Maury.
Alright, sniffers. Sorry, I forgot about the sniffers. Hold on.
I forgot about the sniffles. Alright, here you go, Maury. I can't do too many sniffers because they make me lightheaded. I can get some more to you later if I remember after we finished reading. Okay.
Maury. Very, very, very good girl. Thank you for being here, Maury. It's always good to see you. Thank you for being who you are. Wait, get that myself, sorry. You worked very, very hard this week. Good girl, Maury, good girl.
Sorry, burp.
Good girl, Maury, good girl, good girl, good girl, good girl, good girl. Good girl, Maury, good girl, good girl, good girl, good girl, good girl, good girl, good girl. Good girl, Maury, good girl, good girl, good girl, good girl, good girl. Good girl, Maury, good girl, good girl, good girl, good girl, good girl, good girl. Good girl, Maury, good girl, good girl, good girl, good girl, good girl. Good girl, Maury, good girl. Good girl, Maury, good girl, good girl, good girl, good girl, good girl, good girl, good girl. Good girl, good girl, good girl, good girl. Good girl, Maury, good girl, good girl, good girl. Okay. Maury, thank you for being who you are and doing what you do. I think my kids are on the better place. I'm a little bit.
Okay.
Good girl, Maury, good girl. You're such a good girl. Yes, you are. Yes, you are such a good girl. Good girl, Maury, good girl. Oh, look at you, such a good girl. Yes, you are. Yes, you are such a good girl. Good girl. Good girl, Maury, good girl. Good girl, boy. Good girl, good girl, good girl, good girl, good girl. Such a good girl. Yes, you are. Yes, you are such a good girl. Yes, you are such a good girl. Good girl, boy, good girl, good girl, good girl, good girl, good girl, good girl, good girl.
Okay. Good morning. Thank you for the good girl name, sweetheart. We have the ad break any second here, and then we will finish the story after the ad break. Oh, sorry. Okay, welcome back, fan break, guys. Thank you for sticking with me. Thank you, thank you. All right. I think this story goes to page 17 or on page 8. Maybe 9. Or on page 10. Okay. So this is Ed speaking. I believe. Yes. Yes, this is Ed speaking. Again, this story was written and published in 69. So a lot of the references and things in this book are going to be over my head for sure. Okay. Depressing, isn't it? But maybe I'm the only monument Earth deserves. Mediocre Max, the modern marvel, second-rate stew, Nat the Neebish. I don't know if that's a bad word. Hope it's not. Apologize. The lowest common denominator. Actually, let's find out. Did I just say a very bad thing? Probably not. I'm probably overthinking it. Let's see. Oh, no. No, it's not. A person, especially a man, who is regarded as pitifully ineffectual, timid, or submissive. Okay, now I think about it, I've probably heard this word before. I don't know. You can never be too careful. I don't know. Anyway. You know what's here in the way of a tomb of mankind? Aside from my life support system and inexhaustible supplies of food and air, me and my microphone and my records. No books, no microfilms. They used to ask what books you'd take to a desert island. The answer was the Bible, Shakespeare, and an unabridged dictionary. Well, I haven't even got a comic book or the Reader's Digest. The Reader's Digest? Is that old? Goodness. I haven't got a World Almanac or a Sears catalog or a phone book. Everything that was ever written down on Earth exists only in my head, in my poor thick skull, imperfectly remembered if at all. And there's damn little I can remember even when I put my mind to it. I tried to reconstruct some of the good stuff, but it came out the way it did for the Duke and Huckleberry Finn. Doing to be or not to be. Doing to be or not to be. I think I remember how Mark Twain started it. You don't know about me without you have read a book by the name of The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, but that ain't no matter. I recall snatches like that. I put them down when I think of them. I write them in a notebook. The notebook. 260 pages, counting both sides of the paper. There's nothing else to write on. Nothing. So I'm selective in what I put down. I don't write junky stuff that springs to mind. Things that got into my head in grade school and never got out, like, go home, your mother's got buns, or Mary, Mary, will you get up? We need the sheets up for the Mary, Mary, will you get up? We need the sheets for the table. I don't know what that means at all. I talk that into the mic to you great unseen audience out there in Radioland. You posterity types who might pick it up one day and have the patience to sort me out for what I'm worth as a footnote in a vanished civilization. What I try to preserve in my precious few pages is what's maybe worth remembering exactly, like the 23rd Psalm or the preamble to the Constitution. I go over it in my mind, and sometimes I say it into the mic until I'm sure I've got it right. Then I put it down. It's a mixed-up bag, that book, but it's got the aforementioned Shakespeare. Funny what you remember, like post with haste to incestuous sheets, or when the wind's northeast, I can tell a hawk from a handsaw. But like Duke, I can't get past the first few lines of To Be or Not to Be. What a crying shame they had to pick me for the sole survivor, as if anybody did any picking. As if there were a they. Another thing I put down was a line from the Ethics 1 at college, and don't ask me who wrote it. It goes, quote, "Everything is what it is and not another thing," close quote. I also put down what Popeye said. Not Faulkner's Popeye. The one I remember is Seeger's. The one in the comic strip. I am what I am. Maybe it's just as good. How about do your thing? Is it less worthy of preservation because it welled up out of the folk talks of the 60s instead of from the pen of Jeremy Bentham or John Stuart Mill or whoever I read for Ethics 1? Some words lived because they were in all the libraries. There are no libraries now. There's only me. And if I remember, I am what I am, and do your thing, who's to question their validity? You've got to take what I give you because I'm all there is. I also remember Cogito ergo sum, though I'm essentially a lowbrow. I even know what it means, not being entirely stupid. But what the hell? As Archie said to Metabel, what the hell? There's no Descartes now, let alone Des Horse, and it hardly matters which what goes before the other. The point is that the highbrows from the year one are at the mercy of lowbrow me, namely Jabber McAbber. It doesn't entirely appall me. There could just be there could be just cracked earth and no survivors. So hey out there, here I am, the average man for better or worse. It's no good wishing you had the Schlesinger or Toynbee or Churchill. I am what I am, and you damn well have to make the best of it. Another thing I put down in the notebook was the Jabberwocky. I don't want them to think that we didn't appreciate the ridiculous. I also remember a line from Stephen Leacock. Quote, he rode off in all directions, close quote, in some bits from Marx Brothers pictures. They're written down too, to balance out other stuff like a rose red city half as old as time, and a few things that Lincoln said. Somebody told me once I had an eclectic mind, and I had to look it up. Somebody else told me I had a vast store of superficial knowledge, that I was a wellspring of trivia. So be it. If that's what millennia of civilization have labored to produce, if I'm it, that's tough, buddy. That's what's left. I'm the end product, the final solution, the distillation, the residue, the dregs, if you like. Maybe it's poignant, or maybe it's just ironic. But what everything led up to, I'm the gift horse. So don't worry too much about whether my teeth could have been firmer or wider. Just be glad there's a tongue to click against them, or make sounds you may transcribe one day. I'm human, at least. You might even find me alive, whoever you are, and examine the old body to determine how we locomoted and reproduced and communicated and all like that. It'd be nice if there were two of us. You get a better picture. I don't dwell on such thoughts. It does no good to consider what it might have been. It's better for you this way. I talk more. Maybe I wouldn't talk at all if I had a woman to share my survivorship, or write enduring things in my finite journal. I'd be too busy figuring out whether the life support system could support 3 or more, and how long it would be before we had a population explosion problem. So probably it's a good thing there's just me, all by myself, alone with my imperfect memory, but with my loquacious larynx to provide you with anthropological data and enough cultural phenomena for some of your graduate students to earn their PhDs. It may be no more than an appendix to one of our scholarly journals. It's probably good to see myself in perspective, but I do feel hurt on behalf of all the great minds who preceded me. I console myself with the thought that you're all figments of my imagination, and I'm the one who exists. And I'm the only one who exists, as far as I know. This truly may be the end of us all. In which case I should get off and play a record. I'll reach into my bin of nostalgia and spin an oldie from the days of yore, which I trust all you figments out there will enjoy, as we listen to Ed Fio Rito and his Hotel Taft Orchestra playing for our lovely delegation. There's some tough words here. Lovely delegation. How about a little number entitled "Who Will Be With You When You're Old and Gray"? How many question marks go in there? Who indeed? I will. Maybe. Okay, the following is spoken by Marty, the ship. Our subject raises a question here. To begin at the end, the song he referred to is not "Who will be with you when you're old and gray?" It is "Who will be with you when you're far away?" The other questions are academic. He is a non-linear medium, so it doesn't matter whether there's one question mark or two, but the fact that he has the wit to raise the question makes it clear that the passenger who denigrates himself as excess baggage is more supercargo than he realizes. There's no need for the Times Morgue, a euphemism among newspapermen for classified and cross-referenced files of information, or the Encyclopedia Britannica, and those other things when he's got them and more in the form of yours very truly, Marty, namely me. Anything they can do, I can do better because I'm automated. I've got instant and total recall, and it's not for nothing that Potty Parnell spent a month's receipts in hiring the masked brains of Parnell University. He realized too late that the initials sounded like to encode the world's knowledge into me, your friend Marty, repository of all that's worth saving, super time capsule purveyor to posterity, eternity's end man. So that's, I don't think that spells anything. I don't think that does. That acronym. Maybe? I don't know. Okay. Okay, we're in chapter 3 now. The following is spoken by Ed. I'm a hell of a guy to be up here as the epitome of civilization. If anybody'd asked me to name the world's 10 best books, I'd have had a fit. If he'd asked about the week's top 40, though, I might have rattled them right off, along with the names of the recording artists. I knew a guy once who collected Beethoven's sevenths. I mean, he liked Symphony Number 7, and he had a lot of versions of different conductors like Toscanini, Klemperer, Bernstein, and von Karajan. I understand that. When I was a boy, I collected different bands doing St. Louis blues. Then, when I got to be a widely heard disc jockey, I had to bone up on the rock groups. I did it out of duty at first, but familiarity breeds content, as they say, and after a while I appreciated what they were trying to do, and I spoke up for them and knew them as well as if I were their Boswell, their Baedeker, their brother. I was loyal to the Beatles before they were fashionable. After the Beatles, it was possible to listen to others in a long line. The mothers of invention, the Fugs, the Mamas and the Papas, Country Joe and the Fish, Big Brother and the Holding Company, Moke and David and the Grapes of Wrath, the Eccentric Flag, the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, the Quicksilver Messenger Service, the Velvet Underground, the Who, the 1910 Fruity Gum Co. I tell you it's a far cry from the Boswell sisters and the Weavers and the Yacht Club boys. Conrad. Sure, I know there was an English novelist by that name and that he was a Pole originally, but I really know more about the Conrad in Bye Bye Birdie. I've got the album here. The other Conrad wrote Lord Jim and I saw the movie, but don't ask me what it's about except that O'Toole was in it. I saw it in a drive-in in a rainstorm, and it was all very dim. The six-pack I had with me didn't clarify anything. Let's listen to Conrad Birdie. He is more my speed. He drank beer, too. A slob. I barely remember who wrote Tom Jones or Jane Eyre, but certain titles and authors from my high school days are engraved in my memory. They wouldn't bear repeating, except that that's all they're doing to me. Repeating as if to pound it home with that these are the samples of what my education has left me with. Volume 1, The Open Kimono by Seymour Hayer. Volume 2, The Yellow Stream by I.P. Standing. Okay, I got that one. It's a potty joke. That one's a potty joke. The Yellow Stream by I.P. Standing. Gotcha. Is that real? The Yellow Stream by I.P. Standing? Maybe, I don't know. I'm curious. Enough of the liberal arts. Other things I remember are palindromes, graffiti, and gems from long-gone comics and radio serials, and the back pages of the women's magazines, such as Nov Schmaz Kompop, tortured 9 years by 2 corns and a wart. Uses a viper. What is this? I don't know. It's old-timey jokes. I don't know. Was it a bar or a bat I saw? That is a palindrome. Oh, was it a bar or a bat I saw? That is a palindrome. Mix zippy Carota figs with quivering cranberry jelly. All the letters in the alphabet. Is that really? Mix zippy Carota figs with quivering cranberry jelly. I guess that there's a Z and a Y. So, I didn't know that. Hi, Micahs. How you doing, sweetheart? How you doing? Good to see you. We're reading some old sci-fi. we are reading A Man Spekith by Richard Wilson out of an anthology collection called The World's Best Science Fiction 1970. All these stories were published in 1969, and then two editors gathered them and put them in this anthology they published in 1970. Because yesterday I looked through a bunch of boxes of my grandpa's books, and I grabbed 5 books. Two I grabbed, the 1970 anthology, and then I grabbed another one that's like double the length, double the weight. It's a heavy book. So this anthology we're reading out of, everything was published in 1969. The more recent one I have here is by different guys, and they won the 2003 Locus Award for Best Anthology, and the copyright inside the book says 2004. So I don't know when it was printed, but it's the more recent one is called The Year's Best Science Fiction, more than 300,000 words of fantastic fiction, edited by Gardner Dozois. It's the 21st annual collection, so excuse me, sorry. I guess they did it for a while. Anyway, A Man Spekith is about this the last living human, and he's stuck in this space yacht all by himself. But he was a disc jockey, a radio show guy, so he spends all of his time talking into his microphone and playing music. And he's pontificating about his existence and how it's a shame that he's the last guy left and he's not very smart and all that. And the ship itself has a smart machine in it. I don't know. I guess they didn't have the term AI yet. I don't know. Maybe they did. Named Marty. And Marty watches Ed and records what he does and stuff, and studies Ed's behavior and stuff. But Ed doesn't know that Marty exists. So Ed thinks he's completely alone and just talking to himself while Marty is listening to him. Okay. Is there intelligent life on Earth? Andrew Wythe paints by number. Easter's been cancelled. They found the body. What a memory. Things like that spring to my lips, and I'd bet my life I've got them right, every syllable. But don't try me on the Declaration of Independence or the Pledge of Allegiance. Under, over, or without God, or the Hippocratic Oath. I have blind spots for anything that didn't appeal to me as a follower of what I was in. A chronicler of the top 40, a specialist in what was mod, and up to the Minuteman. Here I am. I exist. Much as you may deplore me, I am what I am and not another thing. What page are we at? We're on page 14. I think this story's almost over. Oh no, it keeps going. We're probably not going to finish it tonight. But let's see, when does it end? Okay, ends on page 26. We're on page 14. I think we'll just finish it. Why not? It's 10 o'clock. We have some time. Alright, so the following, 12 pages to go, yep. The following is spoken by Marty, the spaceship, the machine. They say everybody gets the guru he deserves, and I guess I'm esoteric Ed's guru. They say, Timothy Leary said it. People like to steal wit, but it's in the nature of my circuits to give credit. I used to be an automatic part of the printout to give the source, and the habit remains even though I've been converted to speech. I don't want to seem unsympathetic toward our friend, the last man, but I often lean towards the horse laugh, such as now, when he talks so piteously about his ignorance. It ain't his fault, as he said once, that he don't know whether Peer Gynt was like a peeping Tom or a nearsighted guy with a limp. Is that a fault? He's a product of the society from which he sprang, for God's sake, and he does. He's a product from the society from which he sprang, for God's sake, and he doesn't have to take on everybody's guilt. He'd probably feel better if he could sum it up in a quotation, preferably from the Bible or Shakespeare, but it isn't. But isn't he more representative of the mass of his fellow creatures than a quotation-spouting academic type who never had an original thought? Let me give old Ed, the abbed man, a quotation. He won't know that he's got it, but it'll be on the record as permanently as if a scholar had it on the tip of his tongue and could source it to Antony and Cleopatra, Act 1, Scene 4. Are you ready for a display of erudition? Remember, it's my job to dredge out this kind of stuff as readily as Ed draws a breath or blinks an eye. Here we go, then. And then ebbed man ne'er loved till nothing worth comes deared by being lacked. Not bad, eh? Old Shakespeare. He had something to say about anything, even our pitiable protagonist, Harry, Elias Ed. Alias. Harry, alias Ed. The Bard. The Bard also said in All's Well That Ends Well, Volume 3, What's good that's gone. That's good that's gone. That's good that's gone. Which, you must admit, sums up our friend's feelings in four perfectly chosen words. It's really too bad Ed doesn't share this kind of background, rather. There's nothing wrong with his mind. It's a shame I haven't been programmed to communicate with him, to make any storehouse of this kind of stuff available to him. It would be a way of dividing his eternity into manageable segments. The following is spoken by Ed. We are now on page 16. The other day I was trying to remember what the rest of Xanadu did. The rest of in Xanadu did Kubla Khan a stately pleasure dome decree, but all that came out was Schaefer is the one beer to have when you're Schaefer is the one beer to have when you're having more than one. Obviously a matter of taste. Today I changed the needle on my phonograph. It was my biggest single accomplishment in living memory. I couldn't have felt more useful if the hole had sprung a leak and the precious O was hissing out into the void, and I'd patched it up. I kind of think that to have lost my needle, I kind of think that to have lost my needle would have been equivalent to losing my life, for to lose my needle would mean losing the thread of my existence. For it is only through these fragile phonograph records that I maintain contact with the fabric of the past and thus keep my sanity. These still-living voices trapped in the grooves are my only fellow human beings. The following is spoken by Marty. This is a flight of fanciful self-pity by our hero. He has the phonograph records, sure, but they're supercargo brought aboard by him, along with his phonograph, as part of his personal luggage. Everything he's got in those grooves and more is preserved in tapes instantly accessible to him. Obviously, he prefers the records. It gives him something to do with his hands. Sometimes it's unavoidably Sunday. Ed keeps no conscious calendar. Chiefly, it's to prevent time from reassembling itself into the old patterns and their disturbing associations. Of course, he has chronostatic devices to measure time with in such ways as the old 60-second minutes and 60-minute hours and 24-hour days of Earth. But with the sun no longer rising or setting, and with no moon to dream by, the old divisions have little meaning, so he's divided his life into sleeping periods and waking periods, and his waking periods are into the time he's on the air and the time he's not. His time is his own and nobody else's, or it should be. But every so often there's time every so often there's a time he recognizes as Sunday. It has its own it has its own sly way of identifying itself. Its lugubrious air invades his consciousness by degrees, bringing with it memories he thought were buried beyond exhumation. He remembers having attended Sunday school, at first as a duty, but later not minding it because there was a new Sunday school teacher, a young man who ignored the solemn piety and the hymn-slinging sanctimony and asked his class, "What kind of boy do you think Jesus was? Do you think he had a dog?" And all of a sudden, Jesus became somebody Ed might have known. A carpenter's son who hung out with other boys in the village, with the sons of the shoemaker, the storekeeper, the farmers, and a shepherd or two. The Sunday school teacher reasoned that all of them probably had dogs, being perfectly normal Galilean boys. But the teacher moved away, and his replacement was an older man who set his class to learn the catechism, and who, when Ed asked him to explain the responses, said, "Never mind that. Never mind what they mean. Just learn them by heart." So Ed never joined the church. He could easily have learned the catechism by rote, but he didn't, because the man who professed to speak for God spoke harshly and unreasonably. Later he met similar men, and gradually Ed got to thinking that if those were God's kind of people, maybe God wasn't for him. So instead of going to Sunday school, he'd take his dime to his mother gave him for the collection and buy a Western magazine and read it in the park. And later in life, when he turned inadvertently to a radio sermon, he listened for a while to see if he'd made a mistake back in his childhood. But the preacher on the radio was almost always an enthusiastic spokesman for hellfire and damnation, and Ed was never sorry about the choice he'd made. I haven't read Ed's mind. He said all this once when he was drunk. The following is spoken by Ed. I was happy last night. I had a few, you know. I shared them with you on the air, Kentucky bourbon. Inexhaustible supply, as it happens. I pretended it was sacramental wine. Inexhaustible supplies of everything, nearly. Aspirin and other specifics for hangovers to keep it consecutive. Music in many forms. Food I've got too, enough to last me till I'm 347 years old. 347 years old, cracked earth time. Who can ask for anything more? I'll answer that. Me. I want another human being. Once I would have said a girl. That would have been the answer then. But now I think my yearn goes deeper. Let alone, did I hear somebody say sex, is not only my need. What I require is communication. I'm a communicant who can't communicate, except with you, dear people out there, if there is an out there, and if there is where you are. I don't mean to run you down, but sometimes I'm skeptical. If you never answer back. My phone never rings. I get no mail. It's been a generation since a Western Union boy bicycled up to my door to deliver a telegram. Do you exist? Outside my lonesome mind, are you really real? Answer only in the affirmative, please. We don't want to get sentimental, do we? It's only a bygone era, after all. There have been lots of eras. Hits, runs, and eras. Let bygones be bygone. It wasn't so great, you know. Oh, it was kind of madcap to look back on it, like Prohibition, which people got sentimental about after it was over, speakeasies, bathtub gin, and the wine brick. People even got nostalgic about the Depression, the apple sellers, and all the rest of it. There were some good books about it, and a fine movie. Remember A Man's Castle? And one great song. Brother, can you spare a dime? What I'm trying to say is that Earth wasn't all it was cracked up to be. We get starry-eyed and weepy about what we imagine something was, when it was not really. You get to thinking that things were better than they were. Everything gets magnified. This is one of my more talkative nights here in the old control room. You'll just have to bear with me and reconcile yourself to the fact that sometimes this gets to be a talk show, as as we called it. Uh, this gets to be a talk show, as we called it back in the days of radio. Tomorrow night it may be the old razzmatazz, the old hotshot, the the swinginest, coolest spot on the dial. Oh, sorry, I shrank for a second. But tonight I'm talking your ears off. If you got ears to hear, if you're tuned in. Tomorrow we sing, but tonight we lament. Tomorrow we play the oldies, the 45s, the 78s, the LPs, and the tape cartridges. Sorry, where was I? Tonight we sit on the ground and tell sad tales of the death of kings, and queens and princes and princesses, not to mention the hoi and the polloi, not to mention the washouts and the dropouts, and the other guys who never hit the jackpot or even got close. I'd like you to bear with me a little bit longer while I acquaint you with my state of mind. I want you to listen, not because you're a captive audience, but because I like to think you want to hear what I have to say. One of these nights, and it could be a night when nobody's listening, and that would be a loss. You may hear me go to the cupboard where I keep my various things and take out my old souvenir Luger instead of a new supply of bourbon and blow out my brains. It'd be a great loss if none of you were out there to hear this grand finale. It'd be an empty gesture to pull the old trigger and mess up the control room if nobody heard. It'd be worse, of course, if somebody did hear and didn't give a damn. I'll go to my cupboard now. It's time for a little something. A little bourbon or a little bullet. Which shall it be? Let me spin you a record while I go. I mentioned, brother, can you spare a dime? Here it is. So I guess while you're reading this story, there's parts where he says he's putting on a song. I wonder if it would probably be a neater experience to listen to the song and then continue reading. We can't do that here, unfortunately. Damn good song, isn't it? Let me confide in you. I was halfway reaching for the Luger. The well-oiled, carefully preserved engine of destruction, beautifully crafted by German skill. When I got to listening, I always listened to the stuff I play. And you know what happened? My hand went from the Luger to the stuff crafted by a skilled Kentuckian. I had a little drink and decided to let the brain-blowing wait a while. Measure up my life in 10,000 shot glasses of the rare and old, particularly on a night like this. It's not a fit night for a man or beast, as Bill Fields used to say when the cornflakes were flung in his face. Back there on cracked earth, it may be snowing, the wind howling for nobody, but here it's cozy and warm, if lonely, and old granddad comforts me. Will he use my rod and my staff? I don't need that other rod. Who needs Kentucky colonels to tide him over to another day when things, if they can't be better, may not be worse? I ask you this in humble awe, saved by the dram as I am, and ready for another. It is not better to have drunk deep from the cup, whatever its consequences, than to have ended it with bare bodkin, reed Luger, and never to be drunk or sober, or anything again? I ask you this, and let you ponder the thrilling question while I play a selection from the Grateful Dead and go get a refill. The following is spoken by Marty. Our subject is feeling sorry for himself. He has the best of reasons, of course. But help was on the horizon, if he but knew. Things are about to change. I speak from hindsight, having edited the tape. What happens next is history, as they say. Every school child remembers the way it was. The series of messages. All right. Chapter 4. From the log of the Starcraft Surveyor as edited for archives. Sighted craft of satellite class apparently inhabited. Attempts at communication are detailed elsewhere. No response. Markings indicate it is of Earth origin, not a watcher craft from Palagmi. It is possible the crew are dead. We are trying to raise them with recorded signals in the major tongues of Earth. Still no response to our signals. But there has been an emission in English, possibly recorded. It seems to have been in two parts. The first voice human, the second mechanical. Having failed to communicate with the former, we are triggering for the latter. If their human being cannot or will not talk to us, it may be that their machine will talk to our machine. The Earth satellite's machine has replied. It seems to have a name, and to transmit in a colloquial way which taxes the capacity of our machine and tries the patience of our translators. Its first words were, "Are you listening?" A historic radio voice spoke thus. "Please be patient with us. There are problems here, but they're not insoluble. The next voice you hear may discourage you, but hang on. There's a non-violent way out, probably. This is Marty, signing off for now." The male human voice then transmitted in his first words, addressed directly to us. "I'll blow you to hell and gone if you don't keep the hell away from me." He sounded frightened. After a long pause, he was less panicky. It was as if he'd rehearsed and was speaking for maximum effect on us and him. "I know what you're up to," he said, "and I want no part of it. You're out to cover yourself with glory by reuniting a poor hermit with the rest of humanity. Well, I don't choose to go. If I can't go home again to Earth and all if I can't go home to Earth and all it meant to me, I won't accept a substitute land. I'd rather recreate the Earth I knew here in my mind and talk about it, endlessly if I must. I'd rather keep it alive and undistorted in my own peculiar way than to compromise with the relics of mankind that you've assembled on a second best world. And if you think I'm a hypocrite to talk to rationally now and then on the air, or to pretend I'm the last man alone in the universe, it's because you don't understand the artist in me. I've got a platform from which to survey the fate of mankind. Believe me, it's more artistic to do it from up here than to try from your earnest land, where everybody drives a tractor or mends the irrigation works. Is that what you want me for? To be another poor soul in the great collective effort? No thanks. This is my place up here. I may not do any good, but I'm not. But what I'm. Sorry. This is my place up here. I may not do any good, but I'm doing it. But what I'm doing, I do in my own way. So leave me alone. Scram. I don't know you, and you don't know me. So do what you. So what do you say? We leave it that way. It was never cut out to work. It was never cut out for work in a kibbutz. I'd rather kibbutz than kibbutz. And you have to admit, I haven't run out of things to say. Thanks for pulling away. I really would have used the bombs. And you need every man you can get, but you don't need me. I need me. The machine Marty spoke again after this outburst. "You see why I asked for patience? My human friend has a delusion that he's been contacted by Earth people who've set up a colony on another planet. He's quick to adapt. That's why he's apparently adapted to this ego-hurting belief that he's not Earth's only survivor. He'd be diminished, achingly lonely, though he is. If others were to share his survivorship, he feels that he's not much, but that he's unique, and he won't let this be taken away. You could not blame him if you knew him as I do. If you can put up with him a little longer, we may begin to see daylight." We have now audited, transcribed, and partially translated the stored-up oral log of the mechanical being Marty. And as we conclude that Marty is more intelligent by far than its multi-named co-occupant of the capsule, our mission is clear. We must rescue or capture the satellite. Given the choice, we prefer the former. But if there is resistance from this well-styled esoteric Ed, as known as Harry Protagonist Space Disc Jockey, we know our course. We will work through Marty, the sophisticated machine from which our machine is already learning, and see if a way can be found to nullify the satellite's destruct circuit. An additional complication has arisen. Our machine, our only link with Marty and Ed, is making demands on us. It wants a name. It's like its alien cousin. It wants to be called Deary, which is what Marty has been calling it, probably in jest. Compared to Marty, our machine is a simple, ingenious device. It would expedite our mission to humor it and not let it suspect that Marty is presumably toying, without malice, with what Deary has been led to believe are its emotions. Deary it is, then. Deary she is. Marty has led her to think she may be female, and if we're to use her to the optimum, we'll have to go along with them. Deary is learning fast. Marty is a good teacher, but Marty seems to know the point beyond which it would be unwise to educate Deary if he is to remain supreme among machines when we return to our land. The human mind we have acquired seems relatively hopeless, or perhaps on the brink of madness. The machine Marty is a more fitting memorial for Earth. The following is spoken by Ed. So they found Ed's capsule. Somebody did. If they're human or aliens. Alright, the following is spoken by Ed. We're on page 22. We're almost done. Sometimes I get confused. Sometimes I know I'm all alone, but there are also times when I know as positively that I'm anything but alone. That I could have company if I cared to look, but I push away the latter truth, for each is equally true to me. Because I will not accept the kind of people who do not exist. Or who do exist, sorry. Because I will not accept the kind of people who do exist. I may not be the last human being, but I am the last from Earth. The last of my kind anywhere. And I must resist those who would encroach on all that is left in my world, my Earth, and profane it. I will not have you, you sniveling pretenders, you incompletely begotten. The following is spoken by Marty. And so we leave our friend Ed, confused, deluded, doing his job as he sees it. His uniqueness must mean more to him than having a companion, for in his madness he's rejected companionship. It's too bad. The other land has nubile women. Physically they are compatible, and they could mate and perpetuate the earth strain, but it may be better to leave him as he is. For him the pleasures of the mind, his mind, odd and warped as it is, are preferable to his assimilation in a conventional life. Better to keep him as he is wired for sound, recollective, discursive, uniquely of earth, mordant, witty, humble yet proud, mad and misanthropic, but sometimes merry, a common yet uncommon man, recalling common yet uncommon things about his earth, which, as he did later, cracked up. So, the following is a conversation between Deary and Marty. Deary: Marty, you talk too much. Marty: I know, I get it from him. Deary: You're wrong about him. We can help. Marty: No, he'll go on in his own way, and Earth with him. Deary: That's not enough, Marty. You've told us that. Marty: I did? Deary: We'll help him, but you have to, too. Marty: I do? If you can help him, I will. Marty: They transferred him while he slept. I collaborated by tampering with the air balance of our too long spaceborne home. I directed my fellow machines in recon to feed in enough asphyxiant to knock him out for 12 hours. They've duplicated his quarters exactly, right down to the whiskey stains on his desk and a worn spot on his turntable. And he doesn't know he's in the psychopathic wing of their best hospital. He thinks he's still aboard his cozy space house, and he speaketh as before, and stubbornly clinging to his bygone world. Goodness. The following is spoken by Ed. Speaking of poets, who so spoke? Not me. And why is one pronounced Keats and the other Yeats? Why not Cates and Yeats or Keats and Yeats? I guess you would have to be in the classical bank to understand. Yeats and Keats. Once a girl named Kate and I stayed in the Yates Hotel in Syracuse, breakfast with your overnight room. I've got a record called "I Wish I Could Shimmy." I wish I could shimmy like my sister Kate. Okay, in the absence of poetry from either of the bygone gentlemen, let's listen to the music. Thank God something's been preserved. Now, 1, 2. The following is spoken by Marty. They play my tapes over and over. They stop them and ask for elaboration, for interpretation. The scholars are delighted. I'm the Rosetta Stone to Ed and his cracked up earth. And duplicating the ship to give Ed his crazy house quarters. They duplicated me as well. One of me works directly with them on the tapes of Ed past, and the other me continues to attend Ed present, endlessly explaining. Because my two selves are connected, each knows everything the other does. Surprisingly, this bothers me. To the end of a day, at the end of a day, I feel drained. I didn't know there was mortality in me. Little by little, they've exposed Ed to his new surroundings. He reacted predictably at first, threatening to destroy anybody who came near. But they're empty threats. Ed has been diffused. I think he's beginning to realize this, dimly, even if he doesn't accept it yet. There's radio on this planet, and Ed hears it. At least the vibrations impinge on his eardrums. Not being able to read his mind, I can only guess the effect it's having on him. Outwardly, he reacts by cocking his head and frowning. So far, he hasn't commented. One of the programs Ed hears is a music show broadcast daily by a young woman named Haya. I transliterate. I think it's getting to him subconsciously. The other day I observed him tapping his fingers to a sweet alien melody Haya was playing. I can't describe their music any more than I can describe Earth's. At most I can reproduce it, but Ed's beginning to be reached. Ed is beginning to be reached. The following is spoken by Ed. I must be going dotty, folks. I keep hearing things inside my head. Maybe it's that old music of the spheres that they used to talk about. It's not jazz, but it has the wild improvisational tempo of jazz. It's not pop, but it's catchy and rememberable. It's not classical, but it has enduring quality of the good stuff. I like it. But maybe I'm just making it up, going off the deep end out here in the nowhere. The following is spoken by Marty. On the contrary, Ed may be surfacing from the mad deeps. He could be adapting to the reality he'd consciously rejected out of fear of the unknown, the alien yet friendly world which he must embrace unless he's to degenerate into a subhuman type bank of repetitive memories. If he did that, he'd be no better than me. I'm big enough to say this, a storehouse incapable of creativity, and that would be a waste. Despite all his faults and gaps, Ed is Earth. He never claimed to be the best there was, but he's representative of an awful lot of people. We need him. He's not alone there. He's not alone here. He has fellow human beings now. I hope they can get through to him. The following is spoken by Ed. Something's wrong with the air conditioning. It's putting out a different kind of air, but to fix it I have to go down to the bowels of the ship, and I don't like to think about bowels, so I put it off. I've put off a lot of things. There's all the time in the world. In the world? You'd think I'd want to fix the air thing, and it'd take me away for a while. I used to think that what I missed was the freedom of movement, the ability to walk and wander, to go as far in any direction as I wanted to. But I guess I don't miss it really. Or if I do, I resent the fact that my walking space has been restricted to a few dozen feet. Rather than take such a limited stroll, I stay put. Since I can no longer walk up Broadway or in the Arizona desert or along the Appalachian Trail, I'd rather not walk at all. It's an adjustment I've made. So I sit and feel that I get fat. I don't actually. I can't on the rations this thing is fitted out with. I eat and it's all high protein stuff. Lately, I don't mind that it's reconstituted. It's palatable and crunchy, but I have not gained a pound. Praise be. It shouldn't matter if I get big as a house, but there's the old vanity. What if someday somewhere I met a girl? I'd have to be presentable. The following is spoken by Marty. We have another ad break in 4.5 minutes. We're almost done. This is the last page. Last line here. Marty. The music he's been hearing, broadcast by the girl Haya. Today he responded directly to it. He said, "Hey, that's good," and he switched on a tape to record it. He played it over later. After a broadcast. Then he made an entry in his precious notebook. It was the first thing he'd written that wasn't a memory of Earth. He started to rattle his bars. He wants out. Into the real world. Dury tells me he'll get there, in careful stages. The first step is a visitor. It will be that girl disc jockey, Haya. So that was The Man Spekith by Richard Wilson. It definitely grew on me. The beginning was a little confusing, but that wasn't bad. So Ed was the last living human from Earth, but there were other humans, I guess, that escaped Earth and then founded colonies on other planets, because Ed was in space for so long. He was basically immortal in the spaceship, because all of his food was reconstituted, so it was made with his waste and stuff like that. So he couldn't gain weight. He couldn't get sick. Well, he didn't say he got sick or anything. Anyway, that was The Man Spekith. What do you guys think? Was that good or bad or in between? It definitely grew on me at the end there. It was interesting that people found him. That was kind of touching. He ended up not being alone anymore. Still doesn't know that Marty exists. Acknowledgements. And the more recent one is much longer. There's a summation. Okay. And the first story here is Off on a Starship by William Barton. So I guess we'll read that on Friday. Anyway, it was interesting, right? I don't know. It was fun. I'm glad I've read it. Okay. Let's see who's live. I'm going to snooze the ads. And we'll see who's live. Minari should be live. Oh, Nara's live again. I'm going to say hi to Nara. Excuse me. Sorry. Goodness. All right. Give me a moment to swap my headphones and we'll get the raid going here. We might raid Minari. It's been a while. Or it's been a week. If she's still alive. That doesn't look like it. Maybe. No, she's not anymore. Okay, we have other options here. Pupcats is live. We haven't rated Pupcats in a long time, but Nara's also reading. And Nara has a very cute voice. We'll go say hi to Nara. She's a fellow teddy bear, VTuber. She's very sweet. She has a it's been a while since I've caught her streams, but she played through Cuphead, and her playthrough of Cuphead was like the definition of gap moe, where like someone's super cute, but then they get like really angry, or somebody's looks really angry, but they act all cute, that kind of thing. Gap moe, because she has this really soft, pleasant voice. She's very sweet, but she got so mad at Cuphead. It's adorable. Anyway, I'll see you guys tomorrow for some Monster Hunter. And then I guess on Friday we'll read the first short story in the other anthology and see how it compares. But it seems they're both about a spaceship. Loosely, I guess. Okay. One moment. Okay. All right. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Please take care of yourselves. Get some food. Get some rest. Don't forget to take your meds, brush your teeth, take your vitamins, put on some cozy pajamas. It's very cold out there. It snowed today. I need to go check on my pillows in the dryer, see if they're dry, so I can go to bed. But yeah, I love you guys very much. Take care of yourselves. Let's see. Thank you for the follow, Huntsman and Sad Lonely Boy, and Coconut Killer. Thank you guys. But yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow for some Monster Hunter, then some more ASMR on Friday. Probably wrapping up power washing the subway and Power Wash Simulator on Saturday, and then some Handicam ASMR on Sunday. But yeah, I love you all very much. Please take care of yourselves. Have a good rest of your evening. Good night, guys. I love you all very much. And please be nice to Nara. Please give her a follow if you're not already. She's super sweet. She's awesome. She's very sweet. Yeah, thank you guys for being here. And thank you everyone for who lurked tonight. I appreciate you guys. I see you. Thank you guys. It means a lot. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this story. It was interesting. There's a lot of I understood the Popeye references. Everything else kind of went over my head. But I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye bye.